It was supposed to be a routine stop. A man in a hoodie, standing near a gas station, waiting for his partner. Nothing out of the ordinary until two local police officers pulled up, lights flashing, questions flying. What they didn't know was that the man they were about to search wasn't just anyone. He was an undercover FBI agent, in the middle of an active operation. No badge shown, no backup nearby, just him, the cops, and a tense situation spiraling fast. From the moment they stepped out of the squad car, something felt off. The officers didn't ask questions, they gave orders. Hands against the car, empty your pockets. What's in the bag? The agent stayed calm, trained for moments like this. But every second was costing him the operation he'd been building for months. His team had no idea he'd been compromised. And the suspects he was watching, they were getting away. What happened next shocked even the most seasoned agents. Within 5 minutes of the stop, the undercover agent was fired, removed from duty, cut from the operation, and left with a record he didn't deserve. Why? That's the part no one saw coming. Who made the call? Was it a mistake or something? More intentional? And how did a trained federal agent end up at the center of a controversy no one wants to talk about? This is the story of how a split-second encounter changed a career and possibly cost the FBI something much bigger. Agent Marcus Hale had been deep undercover for nearly 6 months, working on a federal case tied to a suspected arms trafficking ring operating in the city. He'd built trust with dangerous people, gathered intel, and was days away from a planned takedown. Every move he made was carefully watched by the FBI's internal team until that night, when a routine gas station meet took an unexpected turn. Marcus had followed protocol, no weapons on him, no official ID, just a burner phone and a backpack with surveillance equipment. The officers who stopped him didn't run his prints or call it in, they just saw a suspicious man standing alone. When he tried to explain, they didn't listen. He couldn't reveal his identity without blowing his cover. But silence, in this case, worked against him. Back at the FBI field office, the team lost contact. Calls to his burner went unanswered. The suspect he was tracking never showed. Hours later, word came down from higher-ups Marcus was being pulled, not just from the mission, but from the agency itself. No explanation, no hearing, just a quiet dismissal. Marcus wasn't just confused, he was devastated. How did two local officers, unaware of who he was, trigger a decision so drastic? Was there more going on behind the scenes? Was someone trying to bury the operation or bury him? And now, the agent who once held the trust of the Bureau was left in the shadows, with more questions than answers. But Marcus wasn't done, not even close. Marcus spent the next few days trying to get answers. But doors that were once wide open to him were suddenly shut tight. Calls to former colleagues went unanswered. His direct supervisor, the one who'd recruited him into the undercover unit, told him to move on. No explanation, no apology. It was as if the Bureau wanted to erase his involvement altogether. But Marcus knew something didn't add up. He wasn't just fired, he was cut out, silenced, digging into the case on his own. Marcus discovered that the suspects he was tracking, the ones tied to illegal weapons shipments, had disappeared off the radar the same night he was stopped. Not arrested, not watched, just gone. The timing felt too perfect to be a coincidence. Someone had used that police stop to shut the whole mission down. But why? Meanwhile, the local police department had its own story. The officers involved in the stop filed a report that painted Marcus as uncooperative and suspicious. Bodycam footage, however, told a different story, one the public hadn't seen. But even with the truth on tape, no one seemed interested in clearing his name. A quiet rumor began to spread among those who still spoke to him in whispers. The operation Marcus was working on had crossed paths with people more powerful than he realized. People not just in the criminal world, but possibly within law enforcement or government. If that was true, then this wasn't just a mistake, it was a warning. Marcus couldn't let it go. The silence, the way everyone backed away, the fact that an entire FBI operation vanished overnight, it all pointed to something much deeper than a simple misunderstanding. He started retracing every step of the case. Old notes, surveillance logs, burner messages. Somewhere in the details, he was sure the truth was hiding. And the more he uncovered, the more it looked like this wasn't just about arms trafficking. The operation had touched something bigger, something connected to internal corruption. One of his old tech contacts, someone from the Bureau's cyber unit, agreed to meet in secret. What she showed him confirmed his suspicions. Logs had been wiped. Files related to the investigation had been deleted from official servers, but she had backups, unofficial ones taken before the data disappeared. And in those files were names. Not just suspects but law enforcement personnel, a few of them high-ranking. One, in particular, had direct ties to the agency that fired him. At the same time, Marcus noticed he was being followed. A black SUV parked outside his apartment. A strange call in the middle of the night with no one on the line. His phone buzzed with messages that deleted themselves seconds after appearing. This wasn't paranoia. Someone was watching. He realized then this wasn't just about protecting a failed case. It was about protecting powerful people from being exposed. The moment Marcus got too close, they shut him down. But now, he had proof, and they knew it. Just when Marcus thought he was ready to expose everything, the second blow hit harder than the first. The whistleblower from the cyber unit, the one who gave him the deleted files, went missing. No warning, no goodbye. One day she was texting updates. The next day, her apartment was cleared out like she'd never lived there. The timing was too exact to ignore. It felt like someone was cleaning up every loose end, and Marcus knew he could be next. Then came the twist he never saw coming. A contact from his original undercover case, someone he thought had vanished with the rest of the suspects, reached out. The man didn't call, didn't text. He showed up, in person, outside a crowded train station, wearing a disguise and speaking in code. He told Marcus something he couldn't believe. The entire operation had been compromised weeks before the gas station stopped. Someone inside the bureau had been feeding information to the very people Marcus was trying to take down, but it didn't stop there. The source revealed one more thing: Marcus wasn't just set up to fail, he was the bait. The false stop by the local police wasn't a coincidence. It was staged, meant to distract him long enough to let the real targets vanish, to tie his hands if he ever got close to the truth again. Now Marcus wasn't just trying to clear his name or fix a broken case. He was running out of time, with people closing in fast. And this time, he was truly alone. Marcus knew there was no turning back. With his only ally missing and time running out, he made the boldest move yet. He leaked parts of the deleted files to an independent journalist he trusted from an old case. Within 24 hours, a quiet story broke online, hinting at corruption inside federal law enforcement and a failed undercover sting that had been buried. It didn't mention names, but it was enough to make people start asking questions. That's when the heat really turned up. Marcus received a direct message from someone claiming to be from Internal Affairs, asking to meet. He hesitated but went anyway, choosing a public place with cameras and witnesses. The agent who showed up wasn't what he expected. She wasn't there to silence him. She was there because she'd been following the same trail from inside. She confirmed what he already knew. The case had been sabotaged from the top. One of the deputy directors had been protecting a defense contractor tied to the illegal weapons deals. Marcus had gotten too close. The gas station stop, ordered his firing, signed off within hours. The missing tech analyst. She was alive, placed under federal protection after reporting what she knew. With the evidence and support now on record, the Bureau quietly opened an internal investigation. Marcus was offered reinstatement, but he refused. Too much had been lost. Too many people had looked the other way, and just when he thought it was over, he got a package. No return address. Inside was a flash drive footage of a private meeting between the deputy director and one of the suspects he'd once tracked. The case wasn't closed. Not even close. Marcus stared at the flash drive, knowing it was the final piece. He didn't rush to the bureau or the press this time. Instead, he made a copy and handed it to the journalist who had already broken the first story. Within days, a full investigative report went live, with names, timelines, and video proof. The fallout was fast. The deputy director was placed on leave pending investigation, and a special task force was assigned to re-examine every case he had touched. The missing tech analyst resurfaced under protection and testified anonymously. Her backup files became key evidence, and several local officers tied to the staged stop were also placed under review. As the story gained national attention, it forced a broader conversation about abuse of power and how easily good agents could be discarded to protect reputations. Marcus never returned to the FBI. He didn't need to. What he cared about wasn't getting his badge back, it was making sure the truth didn't stay buried. He started working independently, helping whistleblowers and other agents